Joining us today is Rich Lloyd, the CEO of Shuka Minerals, following news that the company has recently completed the acquisition of the Kabwe zinc mine and completed a fundraise. Rich, good to be speaking to you. How are you?
Hi, Mark. How are you doing? Yes, great.
Good to be catching up, Rich. So just talk us through a little bit how you're feeling about this fundraise, getting this fundraise away and getting that completion of Kabwe signed, sealed and delivered.
Yeah, it's taken time. And I've got to thank my shareholders and creditors and everyone's been assisting me in the time it's taken, but we got there eventually. So the bulk of the GMI loan is now drawn. So they extended the 500,000 loan to 2 million sterling, and there's about 380,000 left that can be drawn on that, and that covered the acquisition of Leopard Exploration and Mining. So we now own 100% of that, which by extension we now own 100% of the famous Kabwe Mine, which, just to remind the audience, operated from 1904 to 1995 and generated about 14.5 million tons of ore, zinc, lead. They generated or produced 1.8 million tons of zinc, about 800,000 tons of lead, about 8,000 tons of vanadium, nearly 3 million ounces of silver, and there's other material in there that perhaps wasn't even on the periodic table when they first mined it, such as gallium, germanium, etc. So it's quite exciting, and having ownership of that now means we can really get cracking.
So it's one of these projects that had a lot of history, as you say, but I think there's still a fair bit of value still reported as being in the ground. You're talking, 5.7 million tons of resources still there, which is a value of about $2 billion US. So just talk us through where that number's coming from and how relevant that is today.
Yeah, we need to. So we've got a 43101, which is the Canadian Institute, that's similar to a JORC code resource. Now, because of the age of the drilling and the recoveries, etc., that sits in the lower resource categories. So we need to confirm that. So that'll be the first phase of work. But as you say, there's pre-tax cash flows in that resource statement from Bear Dolbear of 1.85 billion, and that's just what we know. And that gives us an a 10% NPV of 516 million, which isn't bad for a company that's got a £4 million market cap. So we should be able to scale up, one hopes.
Indeed. 516 or 561?
561.
561. Yeah, okay, excellent. So you've now got to go through and effectively confirm those numbers, bring it up to date, do some more drilling. You said in the RNS you're now able to launch the 2026 program. A few things going on there: geophysical studies, drilling, environmental studies. Talk us through what the immediate plan is now you're fully funded and acquired.
Yeah, there's probably 4 streams that are important. Obviously, we can't hide away from the history in Kabwe. Previous operators, a lot of the lead that was smelted went straight up in the air, and that has created health issues over the last 100 years. So you really need to draw a line and find out exactly what your baseline is before you start working properly. That shouldn't prevent drilling, etc., and geophysics, because obviously it doesn't generate anything. But that you do need to know where you are, and we firmly want to improve the situation there. But also, we don't inherit any liability from the ZCCM or Anglo-American Technical Studies era. That's not part of it. But anyone going into a new area or an old area just needs to be cognizant that you've got to improve things. So that's the environmental side. The geophysics is understood and well known. So we would look both in and around the asset and further afield. Our fully permitted mining license is 33 square kilometers. So there's a lot of area to cover. A lot of that is already done with geophysics, but you've got oxides and silicates which don't react too great to geophysics. And you've just popped up the drilling program there. The first attack really is around number 2 ore body, and the blue area there is the area that's been mined out, and you can see the open pit that's been mined as well, and the shaft to the right. All that area below in the red circles is part of the resource that Bear Dolbear have documented. But as I say, that's all from sampling in the stoped out areas. Those sort of pink lines, vertical and horizontal, are the actually underground workings which they've developed. So we need to drill into all that, and you can see the 3 drill holes on the left and 1 on the right. So that would be our first phase of drilling to confirm the resources in those areas, and and the question marks at the bottom. We don't know how far this thing goes down, but the general shape is like a carrot, and the grades generally increase in this sort of ore body, but we've got to confirm that as well. So you're looking at 3 or 4 holes at 500 meters, and then you do a deflection at the bottom of the holes where those circles are, in order to increase your increase the ability to get further results from blocks.
Okay. So it's quite simple, really, looking at that diagram. We can see what's been mined already in that sort of open pit style, and you're literally just going to go deeper, effectively. Do you know what type of ore body it is, geologically speaking?
Yeah, it's a VMS ore body, and it's very structurally controlled in that area, so it's quite vertical. You're talking grades of between 20 and 40% zinc. Those are samples we've taken already. There's still material at surface. So the fourth plan, or the fourth parallel attack, will be understanding the metallurgy. And because we have lots of workers around that have worked in the mine and continue to work artisanally, we will look to purchase the material from them and put our arms around them and embrace them as part of the team. And gradually they will get their jobs back as the mine develops. But that metallurgical knowledge is quite important, and we're lucky to have all this material there. Obviously, you're going to do quite wide diamond drill holes so that you can take your metallurgical samples out of there as well. You'd survey the holes. You can do downhole geophysics if needed for the sulfides, etc., etc.
So when are you looking to kick this program off then? And also, what's the timeline looking like? Always difficult to sort of say on that. But really the big question is, what do you want to finish the program with? What is the main objective that you want to have in hand when you complete it?
The main objective, I mean, again, looking at that slide there, or that section, is knowing exactly what's in those red circles, confirming what was previously known, and increasing our knowledge and the resource base and the resource size. That's our biggest bang for our buck, I think. It's not a greenfield project. It's not as if we're drilling blind. We know exactly where each of those letters are, M, J, O, E, F, and all the rest of it. We know exactly what is in that block from previous reports. So we want to go in there and confirm those resources and improve it and increase it. And especially down in the question marks there at sort of 500-600 meters below surface. We just don't know what's down there yet.
Absolutely. And it's multi-commodity, isn't it? So, there's a lot of scope.
There's a hell of a lot of scope, yeah. So lead zinc is the traditional two minerals. But yes, there's vanadium oxide. There's a lot of silver. I think there's 78,000 ounces of silver was produced in the first era. So, the value of silver has gone through the roof. So, you could always monetize the silver and pay for the rest of the project. But we'll have to work out the funding routes later on down the track when we get further into the project. Yes, and as I said, there's some rare earths such as germanium and gallium in there as well, which hadn't really been recorded before. So you've got a bit of a complicated chemistry set when you do start producing, because you've got to try and extract all these materials.
Absolutely. And what about timelines? And when are you looking to kick off?
As soon as possible. I'm in discussions with 2 drilling companies at the moment. Obviously, we'll put it out to tender. One company I know extremely well, and another company, our consultants in Lusaka called GeoQuest, know extremely well as well. Ironically, I studied with the managing director of GeoQuest, so I know him quite well. We studied about 100 years ago at the Royal School of Mines, so that's good that we can get cracking. And obviously, Mark Nally, who sits on the board with us, knows Zambia extremely well, having set up Moxico Resources. So he's a valuable insight for planning these projects. So yeah, we're going to try and get going as soon as possible. Now that we got the money in, let's get it in the ground and increase the resource and the shareholder value rather than, paying advisors and all the rest of it.
Absolutely. And you're fully funded then with the recent funding to go ahead with this program in full?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And look, I've taken 2025 salary as shares as well. So people were asking, was I taking part in the fundraise, etc.? Yes. And in ways to preserve cash, and Mark's done the same thing. We've taken our salary in shares, which is pretty typical for a junior mining company, but it shows we've got faith in how the company's going to grow, and hopefully the share price will go, north, which is what we all want.
Indeed. No, I did see comments about that, people wanting to see if you buy on the open market, but it's good to confirm you've taken salary in shares there. And to just finally, just on the corporate angles here, anything to be aware of in terms of the corporate angle? Are you ready to go? The board structure, that sort of thing?
Yeah, as we've, the first phases we're getting the financing done and bringing sort of Shuka back to life with a world-class asset, which we've done. I will need to strengthen my team now with people that can get in there and do it and help me sort of understand the metallurgy, understand the geology. Obviously, Mark's already on the board, but you need strong sort of legal backup in Zambia as well. I'm not Zambian. I've not worked a great deal in Zambia, although I've worked a lot in southern and eastern Africa. So having that local sort of power, if you like, in the board as well will be helpful. So yeah, watch this space. There'll be, much more of a operational board, I would say, or geological and metallurgically speaking.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you very much, Rich Lloyd, CEO of Shuka Minerals, for your time today. So let's catch up again, when that program is kicking off.
Absolutely. Be lovely to get you guys up there.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.